This pop-up show on a Friday afternoon, breaking news story that friends Beard, GatorBaitMedia.com, Brendan Martin, our executive producer, have. And we've also brought on special guest attorney Mary Turner from the Turner Law Group in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So, friends, I'll let you get started, and then Mary will shed light on it from her perspective.
Well, this morning a story broke that Todd Golden, Florida's 38-year-old basketball coach and very successful. The Gators made the NCAA tournament his second year. Last year, won 24 games. They're ranked 21st in the nation. This year, 2-0 after last night's win over Jacksonville. There's a Title IX complaint has been filed against him, and the complaint is extremely serious. It claims sexual harassment, which includes exploitation, sending photos of his genitalia while traveling for UF, making unwanted sexual advances on Instagram, requesting sexual favors, and several incidents of stalking. And that would include Golden showing up where he knew women would be. And the allegations are serious. That's why there's a Title IX that's been filed against him. I've seen nothing yet from the University of Florida that has denied or anything. But given that Florida hired a women's basketball coach named Cam Newbauer, fired him for what they called abuse. Then they hired a soccer coach, women's soccer coach, fired him for abusiveness as well. There were other allegations. And now this. And in light of Billy Napier, just this week having the announcement that he will be back as the football coach, I'm just going to tell you right now that this is overwhelming.
I mean, that's what I was going to ask you, Franz. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into it because this is legal stuff. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I like this. This isn't good for Strickland and all that, right?
Yeah.
Brendan, you and I have been friends a long time, and you know that if I tell you something, it's I don't make allegations that I can't back up.
Well, that's why we're live. We're live because of that.
And I don't say things that don't have at least a shred of evidence or truth to them.
Of course.
But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know how Scott Strickland can survive this. Now, he may, I
don't either.
People who were around Nixon survived. And we know what happened with Richard Nixon. People have survived being around people who have done heinous crimes, and they've been able to say, how could I know?
Yeah.
But when you got three people that have been hired all by the same guy that you've had to fire because of abuse or Title IX or whatever kind of allegations there are, I don't see how he survives. Mary, maybe you can shed some light on this, but would it seem that 3 strikes you need to be out?
Yes, I think so. Maybe 1 strike here.
Yeah, Mary, and get to shed some light on this again. The Turner Law Group in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You're a very experienced attorney, the great reputation as a tenacious fighter. Again, that's the way our legal system works. There are accusations. That's why Franz is so careful to point those out. And Brendan is trust but verify. So all that you know just on this release, what's the next step, do you think, for either Florida or Todd Golden?
Well, first of all, he is entitled to go and have his case investigated by Title IX. There also is there's a tier 2 because he's an employee. Then he could be, brought into the Department of Human Resources as well to determine what interim measures they're going to take. And sometimes, I've had an employee at Alabama. Sometimes they may jump the gun a little bit and say that you need to leave, or resign, or we're going to terminate you before the Title IX investigation really starts taking place. This complaint that I saw, there are kind of bullet points of what's going on. We do not know who reported this, and we do not know the facts and circumstances that are surrounding this. And what do they have? Do they have these photos? Do they have these text messages? Do they have things like that, which the basketball coach would have a right to review, and have an advisor, have an attorney, as far as with Title IX. But with the Department of Human Resources, at least at Alabama, you do not have a right to have an attorney or an advisor.
Mary, from what I've been told, is one of these online forensic organizations has documented many complaints, and apparently this is. Let me read you just some of the things that are here, some of the quotes that are here. The first woman, a former UF student, this is reported by the Alligator, and they did an extensive investigation, said that Golden stalked her in person, both in his car and on foot, and that this occurred more than 10 times.
My God.
On one occasion, she said she posted her location on her Instagram story, and Golden messaged her shortly saying that he was in the area waiting for her. Another woman, at first it off slow, like, oh wow, that's odd, this guy is showing us attention. And then it becomes, wow, he's kind of crossing a line. No, he didn't mean it that way. Then it's, wait, he's stepping over that line. And then it's, wow, there's a picture of his dick.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Wow. Hi-oh.
Okay, let me keep going.
Shots fired.
He would go to such lengths about it, the first woman said. He would go back like a year back and like 10 photos at once. Then obviously he followed with a DM, always in vanish mode. Just really aggressive Instagram stalking is the best way to put it. According to Snoop Report, a publicly accessible Instagram activity tracking software, Golden unfollowed 118 accounts on the platform between August 1st and September 1st. At least 20, if not more, of these accounts appear to have been young women without connection to the Florida basketball program or any other organizations that Golden had previously affiliated with. The women separately confirmed that Golden had blocked them rather than unfollowed.
Mary, hearing what Franz Beard of GatorBaitMedia.com just read, put that in the vernacular that an attorney with your experience, you've been in the courtroom a lot, you've litigated a lot, you know how to fight. What would your strategy be?
Well, again, I would like to see it. I mean, we can't just sit here and say on face value, that this is correct. And, maybe these women were bothering him. I mean, my first love is a criminal defense lawyer. I became involved in Title IX. I'm in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, obviously where the University of Alabama is, and became involved with students being accused of some type of sexual misconduct or anything like that. And so first, I think he has a right to have it investigated and to look at the evidence that they say that they have. And I don't think we can just take it on face value. I don't think that's fair to him.
Yeah,
I agree. And now, sorry to interrupt, but before we came on, whatever it's worth, I went through his history, his career, and I tried to find if there was any allegations, anything that was on the internet with my software, if there was anything that has ever been levied against him as a player and as a coach. And I have not, I was not able to find anything. That there was, it's not, readily available.
Yeah. And let me say, Mary, the thing about it is most of us, the closest we get to ever seeing the Constitution in action is we deal with a police officer. But as a trial attorney, I have the utmost respect for our legal system. I like what you just said, because I remember just a few years ago, the mere allegation could wipe somebody out, and there was no way for them to defend themselves. I love what you are saying about, again, there's two sides to every story.
Absolutely.
Kind of pick up on that, because, and none of us here, that's why we're trust but verify, but kind of expand on what I just said, and Franz and Brendan.
Well, sadly, that mere allegation, like you said, will be his demise, because you know what? It's the way it is. People it first comes out or whatever, it's going to make national news. It's going to be on all kind of news
it already
outlets.
is. Yeah, it's everywhere.
Right. But let's just say it comes back and maybe this wasn't true or that wasn't true or whatever. It's not news. No one cares. He's already ruined.
Yeah.
Right.
And I hate to be like this, y'all. I'm sorry.
But it's the truth. No,
Mary,
no. This is
Mary.
This is how we talk here, Mary. This is
okay.
Yeah, Mary. Listen, the wheels are up. The unfasten your seatbelt signs are on. You can smoke. You can drink. No, seriously, that's what
whatever you want here.
You.
Yeah, bring it. We talk
what I love
about the
about
truth
you.
here.
You got any Cubans?
Mary,
Well,
Mary.
Yes.
Guy and Waller May are listening right now and watching the show, and I told him I had you coming on, and people have a boatload of respect for you, and here it is. This is why Brendan said, "Can you get one of your attorney friends?" And I thought, wow, Mary Turner, because I know you're a fighter, and again, it's sad that the mere allegation can wipe you out. And we're supposed to have our day in court. And I think people need to be very careful. The term allegedly, Mary, how often do you hear that used in your practice?
None, because I mean, obviously I don't say allegedly. I just don't, because people think, oh, allegedly, then he did it or she did it or they did it. Because, well, you're just a criminal defense lawyer, and of course you would say allegedly. But it does have a meaning, right? Just
Correct.
because you're accused of something doesn't mean it happened. But unfortunately, that's how we think. Hey, I always say this, when a juror comes in, or you voir dire and a juror comes in and they're looking at the defendant sitting at the table, I always ask, how many people think or thought to themselves, wonder what he did or wonder what she did. And it's going through her mind. It's just the way it is. And I don't know this basketball coach from Adam, but he has rights to have this investigated. He has, and we shouldn't look at things and say, okay, what's this investigated by this outlet or whatever, I think we need the evidence. We need to look at it and go from there.
What I got to tell you guys is this. These are the kind of allegations. Title IX, from what I can gather from a few years of having to deal with it on different levels as a writer, Title IX does not file a complaint unless it pretty much has the goods on you. It's kind of like going to tax court with the IRS.
Gary Keller.
According to tax court with the IRS, you are guilty. You are guilty. Now you're just coming into the courtroom so that we can figure out what your sentence is going to be.
That's not true. Yeah. Okay. I
That-
totally disagree. There
Yeah.
is a complaint filed. There's says complainant. There is a complaint filed, and once a complaint filed, Title IX generates this letter notifying the person that a complaint has been filed, and these are the allegations. It's like a indictment or a warrant in a case. So Title IX, upon the complaint being filed, it's generated this letter. And doesn't say, hey, and by the way, you're guilty of this. It says, hey, there's a complaint filed and you've been accused of X, Y, and Z.
Well, I wasn't disagreeing with that. It's just that
Oh.
typically speaking, when they file a complaint, they've got the goods on you already. That's just been my experience with them. Maybe that's not true in every case, and I'm sure that you're far more experienced at this than I. But just years of seeing it, every time I've seen one, it unfolded exactly as it was listed on the complaint, and that it was it was a case of we've got the goods on you. So I don't know that I'm hoping for Todd's sake, I'm hoping that this isn't true, but unfortunately there's so much out here that the alligators reported that if even some of it's true, it's just overboard for him. I can't see him being allowed to stay on the job.
Mary, and here I like how you're approaching this, because that's why it's so important. People don't realize a trial lawyer is not just on the side. We watch TV and we see what happens, but Plato said it best. Only he said the burden of proof lies with the prosecution, and we got these allegations now. And I know we're just going to keep you a couple more minutes, and really appreciate you, Mary Turner of the Turner Law Group in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, taking time out of her day to share with us. But I like what you said.
I have a question for Mary. Actually, Mary, so is it, I literally, admittedly, don't know much about legalese and all these things. So I'm asking a probably really dumb question, but is this one person or is this multiple people? How does that, multiple people do one document? I know that's probably not a very smart question.
No, it is. Okay, so the document that you sent me says complainant. So, it was very hard, but I think it said complainant. Now, in my experience, each time there is a different complainant, there's a new letter or whatever generated, because you wouldn't want to be. I filed a complaint against my school teacher, and then Natalie, my friend here who's with me, files a complaint against a school teacher. It would be two separate things.
So two separate things. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
But
okay.
Y'all see? Can you see? Doesn't it say complainant?
Yeah.
Let me look at the document.
Okay,
I had it right here. No, you're fine. It's. I thought it's title complaint. Complainant. I think, Franz, from what you sent me, but it's hard for me to read it on my phone.
I've got it. I've got it up here.
Okay. I can't see it.
Hang on a second. That's the wrong. I hit the wrong button.
That's all right. I'm trying to get it right.
Okay. I believe it.
No.
Leave it to me in the middle of something serious.
No. This is what we do. Hey, look, this is how these stories sort of develop, and we're really in flux, and we're trying to figure it out.
Get it right.
Yeah, because because you want to get it right first.
What I see has been blacked out as far as it says. Said regarding case number 202-414-9002, notice of allegations and Title IX investigation, and then it's blacked out.
So is that because it would be a minor?
No.
Okay, I just, again, a dumb question.
I don't think it's
because I thought it was player. Now the allegations coming from player athletes, because the stories that I'm seeing online have a lot of stories online. This is where it gets crazy. This is where it gets crazy.
Well, the thing about it is
USA
the
Today.
the allegate. Let's just say this: the allegations that are listed are serious.
Yeah,
And-
USA
and-
Today.
and
Yeah, alligator.
that the alligator has what it has on this.
I got it right here.
That's even more serious because they have a lot. They have a lot of personal documentation in here.
Yeah, then they broke the story. Is that right, France? The alligator broke the story.
I had it and I was coming out with it. They broke the story, but they had far more information than I had.
Mary,
What I had was romper room compared to what they had, literally. And these two kids did a tremendous job on it. I got to tell you what, they did a tremendous job of tracking down sources. And I think this may be how the whole thing began, was that students came to the alligator, to the reporters, and said, have I got a story for you? That's typically how these things begin from my own experience. I got a call I had heard stuff. I heard stuff last year that Todd liked young girls. And I said, how young? And they said, well, they're actually adults, but they're young. I went, okay. So he's having consensual affairs. And they said, yes. I didn't write anything about it. Didn't know,
You can't. We hear stuff all the time. We don't write.
Yeah,
Mary.
Mary.
Stuff.
Yeah,
and I didn't write it then, but I heard it long. This was during the season last year, which goes back to about February of this year. Excuse me, not last basketball season. This fiscal year goes back to probably, I'd say, February, maybe January.
Mary, I have a question for you. Looking at the timeline, interesting. This is Florida Native 75, one of the viewers. Interesting how the story comes out one day after Florida Athletic Director Scott Strickland released that Billy Napier will be back next year. It's interesting. There's a lot of things. There are no conspiracies, but there are no coincidences. Mary, again, as an experienced trial lawyer, a litigator who goes in the courtroom, understands and knows the law, a brilliant legal mind. Before you go, again, all these are allegations, but it's sad the way our system is. The court of public opinion is turned against you. My grandfather was a judge and he taught law, and he said, anytime you go in the courtroom, you've got to give yourself amnesia, meaning you've got to give the person that is accused only of what they're accused of a fair chance. And that doesn't look like that's going to happen here or anywhere. And if these allegations are true, I mean, we know that's horrible. But would you agree with that, Mary? You got to have a clear mind. I've only been on jury duty one time, but I never felt more proud to be an American in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah, you do have to have an open mind. And the difference in Title IX and being accused of a crime, the burden of proof is different, right?
Yeah.
Because we already know what the burden of proof is in a criminal case is beyond a reasonable doubt. But what it is here in Title IX is it's a preponderance of the evidence, and so which is scary. But I just don't think that we should get on the bandwagon that he did all this and without looking at the hard cold evidence. And there's sources and there's this and that. Well, you know what? Are they willing to swear under oath? Are they willing to come forward, other than a phone call? That's another thing. I can talk big, I can text big, I can email big, but is it true? Am I going to, show the proof all this stuff. I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
No, you're fine.
Mary,
You've done a
Mary,
great
you are
job.
waxing eloquently. Trust me. Listen, you're in the middle of getting your hair done, and you're on here. You were the ultimate multitasker
At the beauty shop,
Oh my God.
live
I
from the
just watched
chair.
I'm on my lunch hour. Here, I'll show you my hairdresser. She's really cute. Can you see her?
Hey, Mary, I'm single now. You just let her know I'm single. Hey, what's going
All right,
on?
she's
Mary,
single too.
Mary.
Look at her.
Hey, I'm
Mary, I know you're busy, and the
She
thing
says
is,
it's not her best day, but it is. She is so cute
listen,
and sweet.
here's what's crazy is most people would just run with these stories without checking. And that's why I know Brendan. I mean, we got a great family here on this channel, but it means the world to us that you've taken time to shed light on this, because we take these seriously. And again, if it was any of us, I'd want you, attorney, I would want you in there representing me, because you understand Title IX. And this story we'd like to get you to follow up if you can in the coming days, weeks, whatever. But closing comments or closing arguments that you might give advice-wise to everybody following this story as an experienced attorney. Mary Turner of the Turner Law Group in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They're there to fight like hell for you.
Well, I'm going to go with your grandfather, is to keep an open mind and give this guy a chance to come forward and look at the evidence and just don't jump the gun is the best. But I think your grandfather is like, just keep an open mind and let's look at it all.
Yeah.
In the immortal words of John Lennon and Yoko Ono, all we are saying is give peace a chance.
That's exactly right. Amen.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Mary,
Thanks, Mary.
Have a great weekend. Good luck tomorrow night down in Red Stick, where Alabama wins, where more than anyone else. But we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye, y'all.
Thank you. Friends, I want to say how much respect I have for both of y'all and Buddy and this whole team, because everybody on this team, we were checking and verifying and checking and verifying.
Like the story's also broken, so it's out there. So let's just get off that. I want to talk about what's next about the team. What do we expect, Fran? Like, what you got? Interim? Let's talk about the team.
Okay. Let's just say that this has been investigated and the allegations are true. Because there's always that possibility that this has been investigated and they've come up, says that the alligator rolled snake eyes. They could always come up with that. Odds are they didn't.
No, this story is pretty solid.
Odds
USA Today, it's everywhere.
Odds are they didn't. So here would be a timeline that Scott Strickland, or somebody in charge announces that Todd Golden has been suspended. I don't think they will announce that he's been fired, but they will say suspended pending investigation. That's usually how I've seen it work over the years. It even worked, if you go back to Tennessee and Jeremy Pruitt, they said suspending pending investigation. And of course, Tennessee threw Jeremy under the bus for things that are all perfectly legal now. But they did that for a reason. They wanted to fire him with cause, which meant that they would avoid paying $20 million in buyout money. So
brilliant point, friends. No one else has said it like that.
Todd Golden's contract is $4 million a year.
He's $4 million. Is that what it is, Franz?
He's in year 3 of a 5-year contract. So
that's right. He just got recent. Yeah.
So it would be they're into this season, so they'd owe him what 2 years and 20-something ball games worth if they were to do this. But right now,
you just said though, like if he's under investigation, that's got to be in his. There's got to be a clause in there. He's terminated.
There. Believe me, there is a clause in there that's basically a scandal clause, for lack of a better term of it. They always have a morals and scandals clause in there.
Right.
And this will file, if it doesn't hit under morals, it'll hit under scandals.
Moral turpitude, is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yes, you watched Porky's. You know that.
Moral
Rough,
turpitude.
that's a tough reference right now.
Yeah, but here's
Tough
the thing:
reference.
when you get down to it, that's happening here. And I thought Mary did a great job of shedding light on this, as only an experienced trial attorney can do. The allegations are just horrible, and you remember the Duke lacrosse deal. I mean, that was horrible, and they got out of that. But here it is. We'll see. I mean, the court of public opinion is mean. It's vicious.
Sometimes they jump the gun. That's why you will see the words pending investigation.
But I look, and I'm not saying, look, I'm talking about a media perspective here.
Oh,
I know that when I hear a story at this level, this is beyond smoke. Like we're hearing, this is like, it's, in my experience, I'm not, look, I'm not talking about Todd go allegate. I'm just saying a lot of times these things tend to turn out because of the sensitivity of it at being at a place of a college and all things that are obvious. I think that's why people are very sure before they this becomes public.
Brendan, you're absolutely correct. He's fried based on that.
He's done. It's done. So what's next for him? Who would interim, and what would be next?
My guess, the interim coach would be Carlin Hartman. He coaches the big guys. Played at Tulane. Tremendous human being. I mean, really tremendous human being. Good family guy. Kids love him. The assistant coaches on the staff totally respect him.
Yeah.
And he would be the guy that would be the interim. And Florida's got a basketball game Monday night against Grambling. Gators are ranked number 21 in the nation. They've got a really good roster. The sad part about it is this. You got guys that, if this is true, based on the legalities of the transfer portal and the NCAA guidelines, you got to suspend, because if you fire him right now, okay, there's a big difference between the two words, suspend and fire. If you fire him right now, every single player on this roster can go in the portal. You think John Calipari, who has three scholarships open, wouldn't love to have Elijah Martin to come up there and play with John L. Davis, who also transferred from FAU? And it's maybe closer to Vietnam from Summit, Mississippi, where he's from, than it is from Summit, Mississippi to Gainesville. And Summit is a burb of Macomb, where I once lived. It's right there by the Southwest Mississippi Junior College.
So what does happen for athlete then? So if this becomes a scandal, say this blows out, he gets fired. What's the deal on transferring out? Like,
they can enter the portal immediately
for like a month,
basketball
right?
Because basketball is a 2-semester sport. They could be playing for Florida right now, and if he is fired, they could be playing at Arkansas, for example, for John Calipari in January. Or actually, as soon as this semester, which ends in December, is over, they could be, let's say for the sake of just, I don't know the date, but just for the sake of argument, let's say Florida's school year, fall semester, ends December 20th. Someone who is in the portal on December 20th could be playing at a new school on December 21st. Mm-hmm. So if you suspend instead of fire, I don't know, but I think that is a different animal altogether. Therefore, I think if the coach is suspended, the guys could not enter the portal immediately. But again, it's a two semester sport. So a lot of weird stuff. Okay. A lot of weird stuff. This is complicated. It's serious. And right now, I think the next most important thing besides Todd Golden that we have to talk about is the future of the athletic director himself, Scott Strickland.
With that, I want to enter in Buddy Martin because he's sitting here. I don't want to be rude, France, and get Buddy. Dad, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us, bringing back and Rob, and just reset for everyone. Sorry, France, because we have a lot of people who just came on. We're pushing about 200, 300 people on live right now. Thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Join Gatorbait if you could. We've got Rob Brown, host of SEC Sideline Sports, Franz Beard, senior columnist, and everything else for GatorbaitMedia.com, and Buddy Martin. Well, he needs no introduction.
The legend.
Buddy, welcome to the program. Dad, what's your take on what Franz is saying? And I know you've heard lots of it and kind of dovetail. I didn't want to interrupt Franz. I just want to make sure everyone knew what we're doing.
Well, first of all, I don't know that much about it, but I have gotten some phone calls today. I was at lunch with people that, influential people that didn't have any firsthand evidence. I will say that some people are in shock. I know some big time boosters who are big fans of his are just totally shocked by this. Lots of questions. You guys have covered almost everything. Great job by Franz putting this together, and Rob, you guys. I got a really brilliant guy named Neil Blackman who's on Twitter. He has legal background. He had something really smart to say about this, about the allegation, because this is, as you guys have said, as Mary has said, this is different. This is not like a normal lawsuit. This is a Title IX takes a long time as all the mountain of evidence that's presented against them. But I don't know. There's so many questions like, how could this have been so obvious? How could it have been missed? I don't know if it'll cost somebody else their job. Could very well do. Without knowing any more than what I know nothing other than what you guys have said. France has done a good job. And congratulations, France, to those guys at the Alligator. Really good job.
Tremendous job. Yeah. Tremendous job of these kids who obviously were given a lot of information. Now, I don't know how they can. My guess is that these girls who are listed as woman 1, woman 2, etc., like that, contacted the Alligator and said, "This is going on. What can I or should I do? And would you like this story?" Buddy, we've been in the media business long enough to know that, as strange as that may seem, that's how probably 80% of the investigative work that we've ever been a part of began. Somebody who, for lack of a better term, a whistleblower, says this is going on. But the kids did a great job. Now, the question remains, again, coming back to the same thing, guys. Cam Neubauer fired for abuse with basketball, women's basketball. They fired Becky Burley as the women's soccer coach. They hired a new coach who in 1 year burned every bridge between here and Key West, and then a few here at the University of Florida, and they had to fire him for abusive relationships with the women. And now you get this, which we could call it harassment, stalking, whatever. It's abuse. Would you say that, buddy? You've been around a long time.
Absolutely. Let me just read a little bit of what Neil Blackman says. He's got a legal background. Obviously, the allegations about Coach Golden are disturbing, if accurate. Title IX investigations proceed slowly and deliberately to protect the complainant privacy and respond to due process. They also tend to proceed outside the public sphere, rightfully in an attempt to protect complainant anonymity and to prevent public opinion from influencing outcomes and investigators. This is the main reason UF and other schools involved can't comment publicly on active, ongoing Title IX investigations. The allegations in Coach Gold's situation have swirled for months, likely and largely to protect the privacy of all involved, including families of the complainants and Gator coaches alike. This story did not go public until now. Typically, once the story goes public, minds get made up and conclusions drawn. We'll see if this occurs again or not, if true and awful story. I talked to one very prominent attorney about this who was so upset about it when it happened. And he said, there's no way he survives this. The only person who can survive this is Donald Trump. I don't draw from that what you want to. This guy said that. And now, again, to the reporting part, you really can't report it because you can't ever go just based on hearsay, file it. There has to be some kind of legal action. And there is, in this case, legal action. And I'm not going to predict what will happen, but there may be more than one head that rolls in this. And you have to think, who is vetting these people? How do they keep getting through the net? This is a very sordid looking thing from this standpoint. I'm not going to predict or try to influence anybody about their allegation. Not the kind of story you like to see about your school in the paper.
Well, I'll tell you, you talked about who's vetting them. Most people are chicken shit. They're afraid to vet people. You see presidents hired, board of trustees just waves them on. Come on, they don't vet them. You hire people aren't asking the hard questions. And I mean, these allegations, like Mary Turner was saying from the Turner Law Group in Tuscaloosa, and we all know it, they're career killers. And it sucks because Todd Golden's regarded as one of the best young basketball coaches, not just in the SEC, but nationally. And now this bomb has been dropped. And, these two young journalists at the Alligator, the student newspaper at the University of Florida, breaking this story. But we've all seen stories like this break. We also know how they typically end, don't we?
They do end in a bad way. And again, I like Todd. I mean, personally, from my own experience of interacting with him.
Yeah.
Surprised last season, when I heard the allegation about him liking young girls and outside of marriage. That I'll just leave it at that. That surprised me. But then again, I'll go back to something that was said earlier, I think by Brendan. Coaches all the time get people throw themselves at a coach. We know that. They're not always guilty of, let's say, going out there and soliciting the favors or whatever you want to call it of young women on campus. However,
they got to be better in that, though, friends. They got to be better.
That's my point, buddy.
But he's right.
They got to be smart enough to know that.
Well, there's nothing in his past that I could find when I did a research on him. I don't see any allegations, and I did a social media push. I mean, I'm just saying it is odd that all of a sudden this guy never had one allegation, and now he's cyber stalking, showing up. I mean, listen, this is pattern behavior that is really obvious. I mean, I'm telling you from a social media marketer perspective, what he's doing is really obvious. So if he's doing that in an obvious way, psychologically, I start to wonder if he's okay. Because if he's acting this way, then he's acting in a sense of like it's sabotage. He's sabotaging himself because you can't be that obvious. And he knows that. You don't get to be the head coach at the University of Florida and you're walking around your entire life stalking women. I'm sorry that you don't one day wake up and become a stalker either. These things psychologically are pattern behavior. So I think that but Title IX, this stuff's not going to come out unless they really feel like they have something. So I think we're at the very beginning of something that's very uncomfortable and probably needs to be talked about more than it really is, because this side of thing does go on.
It's
Well, if
hard to-
I'm a young writer, I'm going to go talk to Buddy Martin. I mean, I'd call him up. I'd say, Mr. Buddy, I got this story that I've found. What advice would you give me? So, Buddy, we're going to wrap up. I saw Brendan saying, last
Well, we got a
comments,
show
but-
tonight and stuff. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
be back.
What, Buddy, would you say to everybody out there that's watching? My phone's blowing up. I got people; they're everywhere. But you're the man, and I want to get your thoughts.
And France too. France.
Yeah, both of y'all. I mean, I'm just saying. France said his, and Buddy, want to hear what you can say about this, because we're trying to be fair and objective and balanced here. That's what we want to do.
Let me go first and let Shannon Franz right from the stage, because this is his story. Great job of reporting it, and by
It
the
is,
way,
France. It's unbelievable.
and handling it in a proper way. Here's a couple of things to worry about. I don't know this person, but on Twitter he points out, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard this from other people. Scott Strickland extended Golden after he was made aware of the allegations. It's not good. Not good. It's very disturbing.
Oh God! Like, I mean, we're all doing this in our head right now. The president kicked the can on firing Billy. Like, I'm starting to do this thing in my head. Nobody really wanted the hot potato here. Everything got kicked down the road till next year. Now we're in this situation. Strickland's now running the ship here, and because we maybe have a president that doesn't want to do it.
Sounds like we need a new president to come in here.
Sounds like we need a new president at the University of Florida, because right now what's happening is a shit show. University of Florida, this is a shit show. Emergency, red, yellow, eject. Like, this is a problem.
DEFCON 5.
God bless.
First and foremost.
And now we're going to play Texas?
Florida's got
I think the first thing to do is take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And realize these are just charges. I don't care how they may turn out. We may have our predisposed ideas about that. What we think, it's not good. It's ugly. It's trending badly.
Turn on Twitter.
Have a good feeling about it, about what happens, but there's nothing legally has been done yet about it. But I think the next step will be, as Franz points out, suspended, then fired, whatever. Good point about just doing the suspension and then being able to come back with show calls and not having to pay the buyout. So a lot of things, the lawyers are working overtime on this right now. It's ugly. It's a shame. It looks like the football program is starting to maybe get some sea legs here, and maybe things are happening. Now the basketball team looks like it's going completely south. It's not going to be pretty. And bad news sells. It's great for the media, but it's not a good thing if you're a Gator fan. So let me step back now and let France put a motive on this, because this is a story.
Well, first and foremost, Dr. Kent Fox, who is the interim president of the University of Florida, was the president when Todd was hired, was the president when Billy Napier was hired, was the president when Scott Strickland was fired. Billy Napier has gotten an extra year, and I think deservingly so. And based on the last 5 ball games, because as I know for a fact, the University of Miami is prepared to offer DJ Lagway a Brinks truck full of money. Georgia feels the same way. So does Ole Miss. So there's a lot of pressure that, okay, if you get rid of Billy Napier, this is what happens. Now, the same kind of thing could be said about what happens with the basketball coach. And Dr. Kent Fox has got himself a dilemma, because first off, interim presidents don't like firing athletic directors. They don't like firing head coaches, because that puts it an onus on the next person. The successor is stuck with a contract, because you got to give somebody a multiple year contract. They're stuck with somebody that somebody else chose. It's easy to come into a situation where you're the head coach and you didn't hire the guy, and guess what? It's a whole different story. But then, when you fire a guy and then you hire a new coach, a brand new coach with a brand new contract, a whole different ball of wax there. So we have our, what was it that the captain said in Cool Hand Luke? What we have here is failure to communicate.
Yeah.
And we have a major failure with communicate. And as Strother Martin said in Butch Cassidy, when he played the part of Percy Garris, morons, I got morons on my team. And that's what I'm feeling right now about the University of Florida is we got morons on our team. And I'm not talking necessarily about the coaches. I'm talking about the people who do the hiring and the firing. And I think we got morons on our team.
Well,
and I'm not a happy camper right now.
Yeah.
And I think that the failure is at the top. As Buddy pointed out, who's vetting these people? Who's in charge? Somebody had to be in charge here. Somebody had to be in charge when Cam Newbauer was hired. Somebody had to be here when the coach, the soccer coach. I've heard stories that Roland Thornquist didn't exactly leave on his own volition as the women's tennis coach. Now you have to wonder, was there an issue with Roland? And I'm not saying that there was. I don't mean to point a finger, but I guarantee you, my phone's already blown up twice with this. Was there anything to Roland? I don't think so. But you know, it's going to bring this into light, into investigation. You got a guy that's won 3 or 4 national championships who's 51 years old, and all of a sudden he just up and leaves the program and says, I'm looking forward to whatever's next. Florida women's tennis doesn't get much better. Stanford maybe, Texas maybe, but Florida's right there. One of the 3 iconic women's tennis programs, and you got your coach who leaves. So there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on here. And quite frankly, Florida is a dumpster fire. I hate to say that now.
I agree with you.
But Florida is a major dumpster fire. And I don't think any of us could have thought or predicted that ever. Because for years, the Florida program has been a model of.
It has. Yeah. One of the best athletic programs in the country. And when you got a lack of leadership, you got a void, and you're just out there, markets hate uncertainty. And this same thing's happening. You don't know who your president is. You don't know. There's nobody in charge, nobody vetting, dumbasses running the show. I mean, I'm talking about in any organization, incompetence leads to more incompetence and disasters.
Yeah. And look, and honestly, Rob, you and I have been talking about this since this summer, and we said, and I'm not trying to say, we said it. I'm just saying, like we said, you've got to have a leader at the very, very top of your organization at the University of Florida. We talked about how getting a president is really, really important right now, about how Sass went out, that drama of how he went out, and then the interim comes back in. That's just drama you didn't need right then. Now the interim was I believe on record saying he does not want to be responsible for hiring the next coach. He doesn't want anything to do with that because he came back and he didn't really want to touch it. So he's just kind of keeping it together as an interim himself until they move on to the next president. Well, because nobody's been hired and we now are here, Billy has had his issues. And like I said, it seems like Scott Strickland's running the University of Florida right now. And I don't know if that's such a good plan right now, because it seems to be, or somebody, or nobody's really talking or whatever it may be, but nobody cares enough to stop somebody. And now we have like the announcement yesterday from Strickland saying that they're going to keep Billy Napier. We're all kind of like, huh? And then all of a sudden we've got this allegations now comes out about Todd Golden. It is a dumpster fire, and then somebody took like a case of M80s and just chucked them right in those bad boys with like, a whole bunch of nuclear bombs, because this thing is not even done exploding. And Billy Napier is still under, like, what, he's got the lawsuit with Rashad. I mean, it is a nightmare. And if I am DJ Lagway, I am like, check, please.
Well, here's the problem.
Let me throw something at you guys too. And I know this is about Todd Golden, but think about this. You got Kent Fox, who does not want to be the coach, the president who fires the football coach, and you may not have a new president, so you're going to have a new football coach probably before you have a new president. So football, to fire Billy Napier would have cost $26 million. To fire the assistant coaches, I am told, another $15 million. Then you got everybody else that's in the building, figure 4 or 5 more. Okay? So you're talking what, $45-46 million, right? And I mean, Brendan, you're the math whiz here.
No, that's Rob. No. Rob is the math guy.
But $45-46 million. You're going to go out and hire a new football coach. All right. How much does that cost? Going to have to give him you're going to have to give him a good amount of money to come. He's going to have to leave a job. You may have to buy him out of his old job. And let's say it costs $10 million to buy him out. You're going to have to give him upfront money to come here. Let's say you're going to hire him at, let's just use as a round number, $8 million a year. You're going to have to pay him $2 million up front there. So we're talking now, we've gone to $46 to $58 million. Plus we got to commit. We got to commit to another, $32 million there. And we got to hire assistant coaches. That's $10 million. We're at $100 million. $100 million.
Yeah.
Now, the basketball coach isn't going to take that much money, but it's still money. It's still the same president who doesn't want to fire the football coach. It's still an amount of money. Let's say that it's $10-12 million. Now, if it's a Title IX thing, they get fired with cause, and they're going to save that. But they're still going to have to go out, spend the money to hire a new coach. Florida is going to demand, because of hiring Mike White, who didn't work out here, hiring Todd Golden now, who didn't work out here. Based on football, you had Dan Mullen, you had Jim McElwain, you had Will Muschamp prior to Billy Napier. You got a bad history. So you're going to have to go out and hire somebody that you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, has a success record, has a track record of being clean as a whistle in his personal life. Finding guys like that costs money. It's going to cost to Florida $25 million to hire a new basketball coach. Any way you look at it.
And any buyout in today's climate is add on a $21 million tax, the House settlement. So I don't see it. It's a disaster. It's a mess. But look, these are all allegations. We're going to see what happens, and we're going to wrap it up. But friends, great on breaking, and getting on here with this story. There's these things, just you hate to see them happen one after the other. But when you start seeing a pattern of it, it's a lack of leadership, a void in leadership. And a weak president, weak board of trustees, whatever, can take a university down. And we've seen it happen before. Unfortunately, this is a mess. It's inexcusable.
Brendan had to go pick up Stella, so just wrap it, and we'll be back. We'll pop up over the weekend. Stay tuned. We had information, friends, whoever will be here over the weekend, during, before, and after the game with Texas. So great job, guys, getting it together, friends. Again, nice job there, and we'll talk later tonight or tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah,
hey,
we're out of here.
This: I don't have morons on my team. Let's just leave it with that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is True Grit journalism, and Buddy and friends. It's cool to watch this because y'all are verifying and trusting. trust and verify and get these stories right. But look, great stuff. And thanks everybody. Mary Turner, the Turner Law Group in Tuscaloosa, executive producer Brendan Martin, and everybody. So we're ready when you call, buddy. Let us know.
All right, stand by. I'll see you. Thanks.
All right.
Sidelines with Rob Brown. Talk sporty to me.